Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be discussing how you choose a mediator. So how do you know if the mediator that you're working with is the right fit for you, either in your divorce process or prenuptial process? Both are going to be very similar because the background that you're looking for is family law. So why is this so important? Well, to start, mediation is not regulated. So unlike attorneys or therapists who are regulated by a state board, mediation isn't regulated. That means a mediator could have a background as an attorney, a therapist, or it could just be Joe on the corner who decides that they want to mediate with no experience at all. The average kind of starting education for a mediator is a 40-hour training. But once they complete that 40-hour training, they can just say they can mediate any case, which cannot be ideal for you if you don't know what your background of your mediator is. So we're going to go over today, what are the best questions that you should be asking? What are the things you should know about your mediator before you start your process? Key, if you go to interview your mediator, they don't know how to answer the questions or they're avoiding them, probably not the best fit for you. So let's get started. Number one is going to be their professional background. So for example, in terms of myself helping people with their divorce or prenuptial agreements, my background is as an Arizona licensed attorney, professional mediator, and certified divorce financial analyst. While I'm not working with all of those hats on because I'm not representing an individual as a CDFA or an attorney, I am acting as a neutral for both people. It still gives me the background and the knowledge to be able to help my clients as thoroughly as possible. There are other mediators that I work with whose background are in therapy, mental health, social work. They all have experience in mediation. They've worked through family disputes and also dealt with divorces and prenups, and they can also be a helpful resource. But you just want to know what is that person's background and education. In addition to background and education, think about what area do they specialize in. So are they somebody who kind of dabbles in every area, like civil and agricultural and family and construction mediation? Or are they someone that just handles one area primarily? That's going to be the ideal, particularly in family law, because the law is always changing and evolving. So you want someone who's going to be as knowledgeable as possible when helping you through your process, or can provide you with resources that are going to be as knowledgeable for you as possible. Another thing is finances. So in a prenuptial agreement or in a divorce agreement, your financial agreements are something that are going to impact you long into the future. So you want to make sure that your mediator has a background knowledge of what options you have for dividing your finances, or if they don't, they have a resource for you to use. You just don't want to end up with agreements that are not going to work for you long term because there wasn't thought put into your financial agreements at the time that you did your original documents. All right, on to the next one, personality. What kind of personality do you mix with? I kind of say it's like bedside manner with a doctor. You want someone that's going to be caring, thoughtful, be able to guide you through your process, but you really have to pick the personality that's going to be right for you. Sometimes I'm not the right fit for people, and that's okay. They want someone that has a different personality type or maybe a different background. They want somebody who's in therapy, and that's not my background. Or they want someone who has kind of a different methodology to their mediation process. That's okay. That's not me, but I can always refer people to someone that's more likely to fit that kind of process. Another option to look at, fees. So how do they do their fees? Mediators kind of do a mix. Some do flat fees, some do hourly fees, some do a mix of both. Just make sure you ask about every single fee that is a part of the process from the beginning. That way you aren't surprised by hidden or surprise fees later on in your process when you're already moving forward. Just know what they are from the get-go. Additional item, how long are meetings? So mediation meetings can be anywhere from an hour, 2 hours, half day to a full day. Now, personally, I prefer meetings that are shorter, like an hour, 2 hours. The reason for this is just psychologically, it's really hard to stay focused and keep reaching agreements after so long. And conflict tends to build over time. I'm not a big fan of half-day or full-day mediations because I feel like it's like a marathon. You're just going and going, and finally you're just reaching agreements because you feel like you have to. Not ideal for me, but there are mediators that like that option. So you want to ask, what is going to be that meeting format? Okay, on to the next one, document drafting. Obviously, in a divorce or a prenuptial agreement setting, it's really important that you need a final document, like a consent decree, which is your typical final document in a divorce. It can have multiple names, or a prenuptial agreement. So is your mediator just going to help you reach agreements, and then you need to seek out another service, like an attorney, to help you draft those agreements? Or are they going to handle the drafting and the filing for you? Something to be aware of, again, when you're being cognizant of cost with your process. There's other things to think about too, like location. Are they only online, or are they in person, or do they offer both? In addition to that, it could be, what kind of is their method? Do they keep you in a joint session where you're all talking together, which from my opinion can be much more efficient and productive? Or are they doing more shuttle caucus where you're in separate rooms and they just shuttle back and forth between the two of you to have those agreements reached? Is there a blend of both? The thing is, you want to have an understanding of the depth of your mediator's background, because this is likely going to be one of the most challenging processes you've been through. There's typically quite a bit of conflict, at least some. And in addition to that, there's also just going to be really difficult conversations. So you want to make sure that the person's process, fees, background are all going to support you in reaching those agreements. And if they're not knowledgeable on a certain subject, that they have references that they can reach out to. How are they handling your conflict in the meeting? So do they have techniques for helping you resolve conflict, or do they kind of put you in two separate rooms because they don't really want to deal with the conflict between the two of you? What do those techniques look like? These are all valid questions that you can ask when interviewing a mediator, and you should ask. I love when my clients come to a consultation and they ask these questions, because it's understandable that a lot of people are really focused on the basic process, like how do you file? What documents do I need to fill out for my prenup? All of those pieces. But ultimately, this person is going to be helping you through a very challenging or even exciting time of your life. And so you want to make sure that they are going to help you as thoroughly as possible and be as knowledgeable as possible when you're going through your process. So hopefully that's helpful to have a better understanding of some questions and options to ask while you're interviewing your mediators. Please check out our other videos. We have them on both divorce and prenups, as we handle both. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments below or reach out to couplesolutioncenter.com. And otherwise, I will see you next week with another question from my clients.